Good morning, basa na tayo ating libro guys. Kapwa ko Filipino, magbasa na tayo ating history. History of the Filipino People by Agoncillo and Guerrero. Today is 19 December 2022, History of the Filipino People Part 3. Reform and Revolution, topic number 10, the Revolution First Phase. Dito tayo sa paragraph Wealthy Filipinos Implicated. Basa. Wealthy Filipinos Implicated. As Valenzuela feared the wealthy Filipinos refused to join the Katipunan, Bonifacio thought that in order to force them to sympathize with the members of the society, a trick should be played on them in such a way as to make it appear that they were deeply involved in the Katipunan. Jacinto then drew up a list of wealthy Filipinos, while some of the Katipuneros were ordered to study their signatures for the purpose of forging them on some documents they were about to prepare. These then fake letters with the forged signature of the wealthy victims were made. The alleged documents contained the information that such wealthy men as Luis R. Yanco, Francisco L. Rojas, and others were heavy contributors to the Katipunan Fund, that they were in sympathy with the principles and plans of the society. The result of this trick was unexpected. Instead of forcing the wealthy Filipinos to join or contribute to the society, they denounced it and denied any knowledge of its existence. But their excuses were of no avail, for the authorities simply refused to believe them. Francisco L. Rojas was executed, while Yanco and others were saved by bribing some highly placed Spanish officials. The cry of Pugadlawin. The news of the discovery of the Katipunan spread throughout Manila and the suburbs. Bonifacio, informed of the discovery, secretly instructed his runners to summon all the leaders of the society to a general assembly to be held on August 24. They were to meet at Baintawak to discuss the steps to be taken to meet the crisis. That same night, August 19, Bonifacio, accompanied by his brother Procopio, Emilio Jacinto Teodoro Plata, and Aguido del Rosario, slipped through the cordon of Spanish sentries and reached Baintawak before midnight. Pio Valenzuela followed them the next day. On the 21st, Bonifacio changed the Katipunan code because the Spanish authorities had already deciphered it. In the afternoon of the same day, the rebels, numbering about 500, left Baintawak for Kangkong, where Apolonio Samson, a Katipunero, gave them food and shelter. In the afternoon of August 22, they proceeded to Pugadlawin the following day in the yard of Juan A. Ramos, the son of Melchora Aquino, who was later called the mother of the Katipunan. Bonifacio asked his men whether they were prepared to fight to the bitter end. Despite the objection of his brother-in-law, Teodoro Plata, all assembled agreed to fight to the last. That being the case, Bonifacio said, "Bring out your cedulas and tear them to pieces to symbolize our determination to take up arms." The men obediently tore up their cedulas, shouting, "Long live the Philippines!" This event marked the so-called cry of Baintawak, which actually happened in Pugadlawin. First, Skirmishes. In the midst of the dramatic scene, some Katipuneros who had just arrived from Manila and Caloocan shouted, "Dong Andres! The civil guards are almost behind us and will reconnoiter the mountains." Bonifacio at once ordered his men to get ready for the expected attack of the Spaniards. Since they had inferior arms, the rebels decided instead to retreat. Under cover of darkness, the rebels marched toward Pasong Tamo, and the following day, August 24, they arrived at the yard of Melchora Aquino, known as Tandang Sora. It was decided that all the rebels in the surrounding towns be notified of the general attack on Manila on the night of August 29, 1896. At 10 in the morning of August 25, some women came rushing in and notified Bonifacio that the civil guards and some infantrymen were coming. Soon after, a burst of fire came from the approaching Spaniards. The rebels deployed and prepared for the enemy. In this skirmish that followed, the rebels lost 2 men and the enemy 1 because of their inferior weapons, which consisted mostly of bolos and a few guns. The rebels decided to retreat. On the other hand, the Spaniards, finding themselves greatly outnumbered, also decided to retreat. So both camps retreated and thus prevented a bloody encounter. This was the first skirmish fought in the struggle for national emancipation. On August 26, Spanish reinforcements were dispatched to Pasong Tamo to drive away the rebels, but the latter, who were going to or were already in Balara, could not be found. The Spaniards, frustrated in their attempt to contact the Filipino contingent, shot instead 2 innocent farmers who were leisurely going on their way home. Ulit guys. The Spaniards, frustrated in their attempt to contact the Filipino contingent, shot instead 2 innocent farmers who were leisurely going on their way home. Returning to Manila, the Spanish soldiers boasted that a great fight had taken place at Pasong Tamo and they had driven the rebels to the interior. This was the origin of the so-called Cry of Baintawak, which neither happened on August 26 nor in Baintawak. Pakinggan niyo mabuti guys ha. Returning to Manila, the Spanish soldiers boasted that a great fight had taken place at Pasong Tamo and that they had driven the rebels to interior. This was the origin of the so-called Cry of Baintawak, which neither happened on August 26 nor in Baintawak. Di ba nag-retreat na nga? Meanwhile, the rebels skirting the mountain trails day and night finally arrived in Meanwhile, the rebels skirting the mountain trails day and night finally arrived at Marikina. Later in the day, however, they abandoned it and proceeded to Hagdang Bato on August 27. So, nung araw pala yung Marikina Mountain yan. Finally arrived at Marikina. Ulitin ko ha. Meanwhile, the rebels skirting the mountain trails day and night finally arrived at Marikina. Later in the day, however, they abandoned it and proceeded to Hagdang Bato on August 27. The following day, Bonifacio issued a manifesto inciting the people to take up the Filipino cause and to get set for a concerted attack of the Spaniards on August 29. The manifesto read, "This manifesto is for all." Anahin ko lang pala to guys. Tapusin lang natin to. Yung The Cry of Pugadlawin. The manifesto read, "This manifesto is for all of you. It is absolutely necessary for us to stop at the earliest possible time the nameless operations being perpetrated on the sons of the people who are now suffering the brutal punishment and tortures in jails. And because of this, please let all the brethren know that on Saturday the revolution shall commence. According to our agreement, for this purpose it is necessary for all towns to rise simultaneously and attack Manila at the same time. Anybody who obstructs this sacred ideal of the people will be considered a traitor and an enemy, except if he is ill or is not physically fit, in which case he shall be tried according to the regulations we have put in force. The intended attack on Manila did not materialize, however, probably because there were not sufficient arms with which to carry out the plan. Instead, Bonifacio and Jacinto led their men in an attack on the powder magazine at San Juan del Monte on August 30. The defending Spaniards, outnumbered and weak, fought a delaying battle until reinforcements could arrive. With the arrival of British Spanish troops, Bonifacio and his men lost the battle and were driven back with heavy casualties. Bukas na yung The Revolution Spreads. Bye everyone. God bless.